Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode on the After Maghrib podcast. It is the 20th of Safar. Ourselves alongside hundreds of millions of Muslims all around the world are marking the 40th of Imam al-Hussein, the Arba'een of Imam al-Hussein. And it goes without saying, we send our condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. May Allah hasten his reappearance, and to all our listeners and viewers from all over the world. Our hearts are heavy, and we are recording this episode not too far away from the 20th of Safar. And I do want to say there is a possibility that the After Maghrib team may be blessed to be in the holy lands of Karbala. And inshallah we can do what we did similar to last year and perhaps take it a step further in propagating the message of Arba'een to the world and the masses, inshallah. But that is something that we ask Allah to give us the tawfiq for. And before I speak more about Arba'een and what Arba'een means to us and what's the significance of Arba'een, there is something we want to share about After Maghrib, and perhaps we'll save it towards the end of this episode. But I can't have this conversation alone. I have to have it with my amazing, beautiful co-hosts, and that are my Husseini brothers, Brother Muhammad Ali. Assalamu alaikum. Wa ajurakum habibi, and of course, Brother Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
It's good to be in the presence of both my Husseini brothers.
Yeah, it's heavy time.
Yeah.
Of course, time flies, subhanAllah. I think every year we think, how has it been 40 days since Ashura? And we think about the journey we've been on emotionally and spiritually from the beginning of Muharram, of course, up until now, the 20th of Safar. And we reflect on all of our personal reflections, but I think something which is overarching and far more important than ourselves is, of course, the Imam of our time, and paying tribute to his grandfather, Imam al-Hussein, who was martyred on the plains of Karbala. So there's a lot to talk about today, and inshallah I know we have some important news for everyone at home.
We do, yeah.
A lot of updates from After Maghrib, a lot of key and important things to let you guys know about. But inshallah, we're going to do that probably towards the end of the episode. So yeah.
Inshallah. And you know, I echo the words you mentioned about what Arba'een means to you. You know, for me, it's like the month of Muharram, especially, you know, the first leading to the 10th of Muharram, it's like emotional. It's more, you build your relationship and your connection and your love with Aba Abdullah in terms of grief and azar and stuff, right? But when it comes to like Arba'een, it's more like a pledge of allegiance. It's like we are here to answer your call. How do you feel like when it comes to the 40th?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've only been blessed to be in Karbala for one Arbaeen in my life. So I can vividly remember that experience. That's
How old
what
were
I
you?
think back to. It was maybe like 2-3 years ago. Now, so not long ago. But yeah, I remember that experience really vividly. It was amazing to me, like, to be able to see it for the first time, and I envy anyone that is going for the first time. I mean, I don't know how maybe it will be the same on the second experience, maybe it will be even better. I don't know that yet, but yeah, I definitely envy anyone going for the first time, because you see things that you never thought you would see in your life, like you know, the level of pain and the level of dedication of the people of Iraq, of Najaf and Karbala, and the amount of service that goes into Arba'een. I think it just shows you how many people are patiently waiting and trying to show their allegiance to the Imam of their time.
Yeah, and it's an amazing, you know, this khidmah and this service and this, not just that, it goes beyond that. It's like unity and brotherhood, and it's like you're all there for one reason. And you know, I can imagine, I remember we had, I think, a previous guest in season 2, if I'm not mistaken, and he mentioned, you know, like when it comes to Arba'een, and you can see all these lovers flocking towards the shrines of Imam al-Hussein and Abbas, it's like we're answering the call of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. It's like we're here, like the Shia were waiting. But maybe that's a deeper conversation. But I do want to say, you know, you mentioned you envy those people who go for the first time. And inshallah, we have this opportunity to go this year, next year, and every year, inshallah, until the grave. But it makes you really think that when you don't have that blessing, when you don't have the opportunity, and you do get it,
Yeah.
there are hundreds of millions of other people who are yearning to go, but we're not given that tawfiq to go.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like a tawfiq thing?
Yeah.
There is a calling.
I think there's
Right?
there's different layers to it. So one is talking about Ziyarat Arba'een in terms of the heritage of it, the what we see from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam when we actually read the Ziyarat,
Yeah.
and on Yom al Arba'een, and talking about the day of the 40th being a historically significant day. And then of course in a contemporary sense we talk about the Najaf to Karbala walk, we talk about the Basra to Karbala walk,
Yeah.
all of these different things people do in terms of their khidmah and their hosting and their accommodation and whatnot for people coming from around the world to visit Imam Hussein. So I think what we'll do hopefully is talk about the significance of it from a historical and a religious level,
Yeah.
and also from a contemporary level. And I think a good place to start is to understand, is there any origin, especially in our hadith, in our history, when it comes to the 40th day after the Battle of Ashura? Why the 40th? Is it because there's something special that happens on the 40th? Did something take place? Was it on the plains of Karbala or elsewhere? So yeah, if you guys can maybe enlighten me and anyone else at home.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously the reports in the classical maqatil that mention that Sayyida Zainab alayhi salam and Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, as-Sajjad, they returned from from being prisoners of Sham on the 40th day to Karbala to do the first ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. And obviously that coincided with the coming of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari as well. And that walk towards Karbala, or that journey towards Karbala, that is kind of signified in the Najaf to Karbala walk, is basically repeating what Sayyida Zainab and Imam Zain al-Abidin would have done going towards the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein for the first time. And that's what we're basically
Emulate.
reviving.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that is the origin, obviously, of the ziyarah, and also there's the merits of the ziyarah of Arba'een. We have the famous narration of Imam al-Askari, 5 signs of the Shia. One of them is Ziyarat al-Arba'een. Of course, Ziyarat Arba'een in that narration, obviously it would be encompassing of the people that do the ziyarah of the qabr of Imam al-Hussein, but also encompassing of the individuals that aren't able to go to Karbala and would recite the Ziyarat Arba'een on the day of Arba'een.
What about the hadith from the Imam? I think Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that the one who travels to the highest peak, if you're not there, you're not able to do the ziyarah itself in a physical sense, go to the highest peak and perform your ziyarah Arba'een from what? Is that a real thing?
Yeah. There are narrations like that. The ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, for example, it says to go to a balcony or the highest point that you're able to on your roof, for example, and send your salams from the roof, and inshallah your salams basically reach Imam al-Hussein. Another really important thing that happened at Arba'een as well, and something that's mentioned in narrations, is that the day of the returning of the heads of the shuhada.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really like significant about the day of Arba'een. Like the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, I believe they call it Yawm Maradur Ru'us, right? The day that the heads were brought back. And this is significant because obviously that it reminds you of not only obviously the day of Arba'een is the 40th day, but the Masa'ib is still ongoing.
Yeah.
The Masa'ib is still ongoing.
It didn't
to the point,
stop on the 10th of
exactly.
Muharram, yeah.
The Masa'ib is still ongoing till this point where the heads are still removed from their bodies. These are heads that still need to be buried, right? And yeah, this is a very, very important day in the ahadith, in the reports, especially when you're looking at the heads of, for example, you look at the head of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Obviously it's mentioned in the reports that Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam did the burial of Imam al-Hussein on the 13th of Muharram. But also there are the reports that say that they brought back the head of Imam al-Hussein. The head of Imam al-Hussein, how holy, how blessed, how sacred is that day that his head is joined with his body. You know, this is the same head that, you know, it grew on the chest of Iman. This is what the Ziyarat say, you know. Salam on the Imam al-Hussein who suckled from the bosom of Iman, right? This is the same head that Rasulullah kissed. This is the same head that was on the thigh of Amir al-Mu'mineen alongside Imam al-Hassan. Like this is that head, right? So this is a very, very significant day for all of the Shia, and it's a day of sadness. And you know, the thing is as well that, and I think this is important to bring up, obviously you mentioned, you know, in the contemporary times we're speaking about the walk to Najaf, from Najaf to Karbala. I think with all the amazing things and all the amazing service that is given to the Zawar of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, I think a lot of people have begun to forget the immense amount of sadness that is originally associated with this day.
Yeah.
Um, it becomes almost a, like, even if we look at Latmiyat, for example, and it's reflected in all of the culture of Aza. Like when you look at the Latmiyat of Arba'een, they've become less about the Masa'ib and more about the service of Imam al-Hussein and praising the service of Imam al-Hussein. So you can see like there's a bit of a focus,
a shift,
there's a bit of a shift in the focus of people on this day. And I think it's very, very important that we remember that this is a day of immense sadness and grief, and go back to those original roots of remembering to be completely...
The saying where a lot of poetry has just become romantic rather
than
it could be like targeted at literally your wife if you wanted, or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, some of the poetry that comes out now, you're very right. And I think there was one Asan recently, this very famous Iraqi Latmiya that went, I think, viral on social media. One of the reciters, he was reciting something like you'd say is Romeo and Juliet. So I don't want to take it to that extent, but if you just change the name from Hussein to, I don't know, a different name, it's like, it's just love poetry. Not talking about the grief or the masa'ib or emphasizing on the tragedy itself, but more about, you know, feelings of love and everything. But it was too much, and it wasn't the norm we normally is what's acceptable, I think, within society. They say society changes, but I think we should never change our core principles and values. I do want to add one thing as well, Muhammad, if I can, like just on the significance of the Ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. It's not just limited to the Arba'een period, right? Yeah, and you can go and zur your master Imam al-Hussein Aba Abdullah Salamullah alayhi any day of the year, right? And we have significance, whether it's 15 Sha'ban and things like this. But in general, the Ziyarah, it's something that holds immense reward in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like we come across a hadith by Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. A man once came to him after completing his Hajj, and he goes to the Imam. He goes, "Oh Imam, I've just completed my 19th Hajj." And the Imam, what was his response to him? He said, "If you completed one more Hajj, would have equaled the Ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam." So you can see like the reward and the station, the maqam that the Ziyarah has in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even as far as, you know, the Imam al-Sadiq, he says, peace be upon the one who visits Imam al-Hussein and places his cheeks on the grave of Imam al-Hussein. Peace be upon the cheeks and the face that gets tanned in the sun, or those walking towards the Ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein.
There's a lot of riwayat about angels and the angels who guard the Zawar of Imam Hussein.
40,000 angels pray with you.
Yep. There's the angels who
travel with you when you leave your home until you return.
Stay with you, and angels who stay with you until the end of your life. Angels who circumambulate the dhariya of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And of course, ultimately the station of the Zawar in the hereafter is elevated, because you're then seen as someone who's performed the Ziyarah. In all of human history, a small number of Shia have been able to perform. I say this year in, year out. I don't know if you remember saying, every year I say, like, you think about the last 1400 years, what percentage of Shia across this course of space and time have been able to perform the Ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam? Minimal, right? Because there must have been hundreds of millions of Shias over the course of history, and only a smaller fraction of that number has been able to perform the Ziyarah. And to be able to do that now, in this day and age where we live thousands of miles away and we're still able to go, and on top of that have comfort and service, is amazing. But one thing I think a lot of us do when we come to the time of Arbaeen is we'll hear lectures, we'll feel sad, maybe not as sad as we do in the first 10 nights of Muharram, which is something in itself as a discussion. We'll listen to a lot of Latmiyat, we'll say, what's the latest track, what's the latest thing? We'll watch Instagram stories, for example, of people who are going, we'll watch the Mawakib, we'll watch this, you know, what's the latest updates, our friends are flying, our families are flying, so on and so forth. We treat it as a social thing, which has obviously its benefits, and I'm not going to downgrade that at all, because that's incredible. We cannot dismiss that. Of course, we don't maybe give as much attention as we should to the actual Ziyarah itself, the Ziyarah Imam Sadiq gave us, alayhi salam, and of course the merits of the Ziyarah, also the construction of the Ziyarah itself. The Ziyarah itself is really beautiful, like the introduction, sending the salam on Imam Hussein, and talking about his merits and his goals. Talks about his genealogy, and then it talks about his progeny. Then it talks about usul ad-din and core tenets of theology, and it reaffirms your faith. It what's the word I'm looking for? It disunites, is that the word I'm looking for, from the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, you know, disassociates from the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And these are things which I think are so important for us, because we say that Arba'een is a time where we like stamp our allegiance. Like, we've tried for the last 40 days, 50 days to do our best, and now we are at the core, the peak of that emotion. It's brewed within us. How far have we come? And that ziyarah itself, that recitation of the ziyarah, should be like that filter, that litmus test for us to understand, like, have we actually benefited? Have we learned? Have we processed? Have we acknowledged where we've come from? And what Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam has done for us.
I want to echo as well what you were saying about the ahadith to do with the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. It's very, very important that we all look at these ahadith. We actually get familiar with these hadith. Like books like Kamil Ziyarat, for example. Kamil Ziyarat has many, many narrations with regards to the fadl of the ziyarah of Imam Hussein. These are things that every Shi'i should be familiar with, to the extent that you mentioned, for example, with regards to the reward of it being equal to, for example, 20 Hajj. Obviously, you have the other reports that are 100 Hajj, 100 Umrah, that are maqbula. But it also goes to the extent to say that the Imams alayhi salam, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam says, Muru shi'atina bi ziyarati qabr al-Hussein, right? He says, order our Shia to go towards the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. Just that? No. He says, فَإِنَّ زِيَارَتُهُ مُفْتَرَضٌ عَلَى كُلِّ مُؤْمِنٍ.
It's compulsory,
And in other narrations, they say, فَإِنَّ زِيَارَتُهُ وَاجِبَةٌ عَلَى كُلِّ مُؤْمِنٍ. Like, this is the extent. They're speaking about obligation, the riwayat. Of course, the scholars, they have a discussion. Was this to do with a specific time frame during the time of Banu Abbas, where they were holding the Shia back from the ziyarah, and the Imam was making an obligation so that the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein didn't stop, right? That's a different discussion. But this is the importance of ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, that even in that specific time period, for it to have been made obligation on the Shia, that shows you the significance of the ziyarah, how life-changing it is, how significant it is in your Islam and your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, it can't be compared with any other visitation. So, you know, these hadith are very, very important. If you look at Kamil Ziyarat, this book is a book written by Ibn Qulawayh. Some of our scholars, they consider it so authentic, this book, every hadith within this book, they consider it so authentic, because Ibn Qulawayh, in his introduction, he says that I've only brought the riwayat from the trustworthy narrators. Some of the ulama, what they say is that what he means by that is his mashayikh, which is just the first person in the chain, right? And not necessarily the whole chain. But other scholars have said the entire chain, yani all of the ahadith in Kamil Ziyarat are authentic according to these scholars. These are books that are all to do with Imam al-Hussein. In Muharram, if not in Muharram, during the time of Arba'een, and even now, we still have until Farhat al-Zahra. These are books, and they're not even that big. They're not even, it's not even that much of
we did this episode 2 years ago with Mullah Ahmed Sadiq, where we went through Kamil Ziyarat and we just picked gems from it. He did. And it was such a beautiful episode.
Honestly, Kamil Ziyarat is a beautiful book, and we should all be familiar with it. It's in 100%. English. It's not. There's no there's no barriers or boundary.
And there's reports in there, if I'm not mistaken, Muhammad, where it mentions, for example, the Anbiya visit the grave of Imam al-Hussein. It was even a very famous story. I think we've all heard it, where I was going to there, where one of the Shia of Al Bayt Rasulullah went to visit, and then someone stopped him from visiting, and then he tried to go again, and the person stopped him again. He told him, "Why are you stopping me? I'm trying to visit before the sun rises. Let me at least do before my ziyarah." He said, "I'm an angel sent by Allah, and I can't let you in." Nabi Musa alayhi salam is doing ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Like, look at the maqam, the status. And speaking about maqam and status, we say, "Man zara al-Hussein arafan biqadra, qad zara Allah fi
bihaqqihi." Sahih.
Arafan bihaqqi, qad zara Allah fi arsha. So the one who visits Imam al-Hussein, knowing his maqam, his status, his station with Allah, is as if though he's visiting the throne of Allah.
Wow, that's a heavy one.
I think of that.
I don't think we can.
And we
comprehend
take
that.
people take it lightly. Like you mentioned,
Is that
a
fully
minimal.
authentic?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's in Kamil Ziyarat.
You mentioned people very minimal from the let's say the Shia population go to visit. Like if they immerse themselves in the world of hadith, in Khan and Ziyarat, if they understand the status and the maqam and the blessings and the rewards,
that's where the importance
ziyarah
is.
gives you.
Because all of these hadith, when they talk about the reward and they talk about the significance, there's always that clause, arifan bihaqqih.
Yeah.
Now, arifan bihaqqih, like, you know, someone may think, you know, I've understood the status of Imam al-Hussein. That is something that's infinite, that goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Now, your reward will be in proportion with how arifan bihaqqihi you are.
Yes.
Right? So that's where it shows you actually that the ziyarah is a transformative process only if you have ma'rifah of the Imam.
Yeah,
right?
I see what you mean.
That's the only way that you can get something out of it. And Imam al-Hussein's ma'rifah is boundless. Right? So the only way and this is why we see in the narration, sometimes a companion comes, he says to Imam, what's the reward of ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein? He will say 1 Hajj. Right? Maybe, obviously we don't know the intentions of the Imam, but the Imam, he's speaking to different people when he's saying these different rewards. He's saying 1 Hajj, 10 Hajj, 100 Hajj to someone, 1,000 Hajj and Umrah to someone else, right? So obviously the Imam, he's speaking to an individual knowing of his ma'rifah, knowing of how much this person is understanding of the maqam of Imam Hussein and the Imam.
We did Jumu'ah nights, I think episode 2 or 3 was on Hajj versus Ziyarah. We say versus, but it was in essence understanding the comparison and what the hadith say. Let's move on to the contemporary
we also did
side
an
of
episode
things.
about the ziyarah of Arba'een.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing I learned about
Bismillah.
the ziyarah just before we move on the conversation? Yeah. You know, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you live for 70 years. Okay, so let's say God grants us 70 years in this life before we go to the hereafter. When you go on ziyarah, even if God has counted you that you live 70 years, from the moment you leave your home until the moment you return home, whether it's a week, a month, or 2, you spend that in the intention of going ziyarah, that doesn't count from your life.
Wow.
Like it's mad. Like the things you learn when it comes to the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, all you can say is thank you Allah for instilling the love of Imam Hussein in my heart.
Yeah.
Because bro, it transforms you.
It has.
It allows you to grow spiritually.
It has, bro.
And not just that, they say, you know, we have the narrations, the reports that say if God loves his servant, he instills in his heart, he places the love of Imam Hussein in his heart. And not just his love, the love of his ziyarah.
SubhanAllah. You know, I was talking to a colleague at work today, Ben, shout out Ben, who's probably listening. Me and Ben were talking about what we love about our community.
Yeah.
And we came to a conclusion that generally speaking, even at times of discord and disunity and whatnot, or when there's tension online or wherever on WhatsApp and God knows, even at times like that, we're still more united than other madahib because we have something in common with each other. We stand beside each other. We do Azar, Hubb al-Hussein. Ahsant. We are united.
But
that too, bro.
That too,
That's
yeah.
to
Say, and it brings us together, and we fall crazy in love with Abu Abdullah alayhi salatu wasalam. And we don't see that anywhere more than in Arba'een and Iraq. Now, alhamdulillah, between us, we've had the opportunity to go each a few times, or at least once each. And I've been twice, you've been once, you've been, mashallah, I think a few times, if I'm not mistaken. And we've had, inshallah, hopefully you guys will get the opportunity to be there together this year by the time this comes out. But for those who are unaware of how beautiful this ziyarah is, never underestimate it. Each tear that is shed there is a declaration. Each step that you take towards Karbala is a rebellion. In the midst of worldwide oppression and absolute tyranny and injustice, nothing is needed more in this world than Ziyarat of Arba'een. Where else in the world do you see 20 million, 25 million people flock towards a rural city in southern war-torn Iraq, where you see the disabled and the amputated crawling, gathering strength, shouting the name of Hussein, crawling on the floor towards him? Where else do you see children with tears in their eyes handing out water? Where else do you see 200-300 meals distributed free of charge, 2 billion cups of water given out free of charge? People's thirst is quenched, their stomachs are satiated, they're able to actually fill their stomachs and also fill their souls. in terms of love and spirituality, in dedication and devotion. This is what Arba'een means to us. So when we know people, and I'd say we've all been on this journey, that's absolutely transformed who we are as individuals. It's transformed our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of it is qurbatan illallah. Our niyyah and our intention is to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this has been something transformative for all of us in different ways, shapes and forms. I want to ask you guys, when you think about this week, because look, we're seeing, everyone's been seeing on the last few days on social media, their friends have gone, their family's gone, they're seeing on social media, people are walking, the mashayikh, the mawakib. What comes to your mind? What 3 words, let me do this, yeah? Say it, I'll start with you. What 3 words come to your mind when you think of the whole spectacle of Ziyarat Arbaeen and the walk and the performance of the pilgrimage?
I'd say love, khidmah, sacrifice.
Beautiful.
Because you see all those 3 24/7, whether it's 1 a.m. in the morning or whether it's 10 p.m. at night, it's like it continues. Like it has no end to it. Yani, the moment you land, the moment you arrive during the Arba'een period, until the moment you go back home, you feel love, you see the sacrifice, and you see true service. Not service because someone's getting something in return. No. Fi sabilillah, for the love of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Yani, we're talking about, if I can mention a story, when I went, I think 3 or 4 years ago in the Ziyarat group, and we left Baghdad airport and we landed just after Fajr time. So we wanted to pray Fajr before we reach Najaf al-Ashraf. So we stopped, we saw a mawkib, the bus driver stopped and he spoke to the owner of the mawkib. He said, I have Zuwar with me, can they pray in your mawkib? We said, yeah, of course, 100%. He turned on the light, he moved the blue nylon barrier, like he started sweeping, laid down the prayer mats, and Sheikh Ayub led the salah, we all prayed behind him. As soon as we finished, brother, we saw a whole group of youth, I'm talking about 11 years old, 12 years old, making tea, preparing breakfast. And they're like, okay, like now you've prayed, now it's time for you to come rest and eat before you head off and continue. Like, no, we'll have breakfast in the hotel. He goes, no. The moment you landed in Iraq, where you sleep, where you eat, where you rest, that's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And bro, that gave us some tears and that moved me, man. Wallah, that I'm like, yani, we're chilling in London, everyone's doing their best to serve. No. Come to Arba'een and see what khidmah is. Wallah. It's something out of this world. Out of this world.
I chatted to a guy at work, Palestinian guy, Radhawi.
Hey.
And he goes, why are you guys going to Iraq? Suddenly, it's not Muharram anymore.
Yeah.
My dad's got a mawkib and they're giving out food. So I showed him videos and he was so confused. He's like, why are you making all this food? Like, it doesn't make sense to him.
Yeah.
He's like, who's paying for it? Does Iraq pay for it? Does the government pay for it? I'm like, no, we pay for it out of our pocket. This is the love we have for Imam Hussein. It doesn't make, in his head, it wasn't like
registering.
Oh, well, this is something people can't comprehend. You mentioned meals.
Just how much do you spend? I was like, maybe each family spends 10,000, 20,000
minimum.
He's like, bro, but that's money you could buy for a car. I'm like, yeah, but we don't want to buy it. This is our love.
Yeah. And you know what's beautiful about this? Like you mentioned, 300 meals happening throughout this period. It's not government backed. There isn't like an industry behind this trying to serve something. No. This is backed by Allah.
Think about it, yeah. Let me just put it into quantify, yeah. At least you've got 25 million people. Let's say they're there for a week each, yeah?
Yeah.
For example, you're having 3 meals a day. So if you've got 25 times 3, 75 million meals a day.
Yep.
Yeah, they're there for a week each. We're talking over 500 million meals, theoretically, that people are eating. 500 million. Right? Each meal, theoretically, let's say it costs £2-3 or dollars to generate, serve, create, whatever. You're talking about people funding billions of dollars from their own pocket. Iraqis. I'm talking about people who live in Iraq, yeah, one of the poorest countries on earth, who are putting their own pocket money together to serve people from around the world who come to visit Imam Hussein, alayhi salatu wasalam.
Ahmed, there's one charity in Iraq called Al-Saqi. You can donate to them here for Imam Hussein charity. I think just water, they hand out about 20 million bottles of water.
Unbelievable.
And that's just one organization.
That's one organization. They go to all the warehouses in Iraq, and each warehouse donates one guy will donate 300,000 bottles, one guy will donate 100,000. From all the warehouses, they'll collect a total of 10 million bottles.
That's insane.
And
MashaAllah. You can't,
comprehend it.
bro. There's never a time or a place where you ever feel hungry or thirsty. You won't ever have a place to. Bro, I remember the first time I went Arba'een when we were driving back after the day of Arba'een, myself and Sayyid Hassan. And we got in a taxi, and this guy told me, it was quite sad. It was quite emotional. He's like, we saved the whole year round. He's like the whole year, my family business. He goes, I'm a taxi driver. He goes, I've saved everything for Arba'een so we can have a mawqib. They did their mawqib and he obviously quoted us to get from Karbala to Najaf and whatever. And by the time we got there, he said, no, the whole trip, you can't pay for it. And we know how it is, Majamilat, and you're back and forth. But he said, no, this is my khidmah to you. You guys are Zawad from the West. I'm not going to allow you to pay me anything. These things put things, this is the peak of human potential. The pinnacle of human ability is witnessed there.
Yeah.
Like, what level can a human being reach? Yeah. What is the sunnah of the Holy Prophet? You see that the akhlaq of that sunnah in Ziyarat Arbaeen. I really think so.
Indeed.
Honestly, like I felt exactly the same. Like when I was going, I started walking from the Haram of Amir Mu'mineen. I think it was my first time, so I was like, I didn't start from pole 1. I thought, you know what, got to do it from father to son, shrine to shrine. So I've started walking, and obviously, Wadi Salam is actually a lot bigger than
Yes,
of course, right?
Indeed.
So they have these poles, like these fake poles, and they think it makes you think that you're making progress, right?
Yeah.
But even in this road, like already there's so many mawaqib that you actually think you've started the walk. Even before I got to pole 1, people had invited me into their houses. People are asking me, come here, pray. People are telling me, come here, eat. I remember actually, so there was this kid that I'll never forget him actually. And it was a small thing that happened, but it stayed with me like throughout my ziyarah, and even when I came back here. And what it was he stopped me to eat, and I'd just eaten, right? So I wasn't like hungry or anything. So he's like to me, come eat, we've made fresh kebabs, this, that. And I'm like, nah, honestly, I've just eaten, thank you so much, Rahman, all this. And he's like, no, he's holding on to me, and I'm like, honestly, Habibi, I've eaten, thank you so much, this. And then like to kind of like, like kind of let him know politely that I'm gonna keep walking, I've gone to kiss his forehead, right? And he's refused, and now he's fighting to kiss my forehead, right? And he's telling me there's no way. And this is a kid. This is like 11 years old, 10 years old kid. He's like, there's no way you're gonna kiss my forehead. You're the Zahir of Imam al-Hussein.
Allahu Akbar.
Subhanallah.
I'm gonna kiss yours.
Allahu
That
Akbar.
to me, in a 10-year-old, the akhlaq, the level of akhlaq and servitude
Humility.
to Imam al-Hussein that has been put in that kid's mind, that was something magical to me.
Subhanallah, just like, it's like the love and the khidmah and the sacrifice you give is not just for those who are, let's say, young men or, in their 20s. No, from children. I remember, just to add to your story of children, this was, I think, my first Arba'een that I went with Shabab. So I think I'm talking about over 10 years ago, by the way. We went with a group of, I think, 30 Shabab from Rasul Azam, and we went ziyarah. We walked from Najaf to Karbala, alhamdulillah. And during the journey, we came across a young boy, Ahmed. I still remember how he looks, like short hair. He was like not in the best of clothes. He was very basit, we say busata, like humble, probably a villager from somewhere. Like that's how he looked like, right? And he had the orange bin with him. I still remember an orange bin, and he's walking around picking up rubbish, putting it inside in the orange bin. I remember we stopped him. I think I was with Hassan Nawab, and we told him, Habibi, like, what are you doing? You're too young. I still remember, where's your mom, where's your dad? He was like, she knows my mom, where's my dad? I'm cleaning the streets. I'm like, why cleaning the streets? He goes, this is the only thing I can do to serve Imam al-Hussein is by clearing the pathway for his zuwar. And the guy was 6 years old. Like, look at the mentality that the children have. I imagine, like, when bro, Ahmed's mad. For someone who hasn't been ziyarah, you need to go, especially during the Arba'een period.
I think what's also very important is to recognize the importance of going again and again. Right? Because obviously for me, I've only been once.
Why is that? Do you mind if I ask? Is it to renew, or is it to just gain a new experience?
I think
Is it like
what it is. I think what it is that from what I understand, there's a hadith of the Imam alayhi salam. There's a lady that comes to the Imam, and the Imam asks her, I believe it's Imam al-Baqir or Imam al-Sadiq. He says to her, do you do the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein? And she said, yes, I do. Now, the natural response here would be the Imam to say, that's very nice, that's very good, you know. But no, he doesn't even respond in that way. He says, go towards the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. Still go towards the ziyarah of Imam Hussein. Continue going towards the ziyarah. So the Imam is giving that impression that, look, the ziyarah of Imam Hussein is not like when we say, like, for example, Hajj. For example, Hajj is a spiritual experience that everybody kind of thinks in their mind as something that I'm going to go once in my life. Maybe it's important to go again and again, but generally speaking, that's the mentality that we have, right? That's the tick box. I have to go at least once in my life. Yeah. Sahih? The ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, when we look at it in the ahadith of the Imams alayhim salam, the Imams are again and again, they're repeating to say, go again and again and again. Especially for the people that are in Iraq.
Yeah.
Right? So the people that live near the Karbala, the Imam's telling them, go again and again. In some of the reports, I believe, it mentioned for one person to go every year, and another person, it said, go every 3 months. Yeah, so there are levels of responsibilities that we have, and I think that the repetition of it, I think it's like Muharram.
It keeps you in check, man.
It keeps you in check. It's like Muharram, like, you know, that
moral compass,
that time of the year where you are completely focused. I think for all Shia, that's that time. And Arba'een and the Ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, I think just amplifies that feeling of coming back to your roots, coming back to the light that you were made from.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, we're looking at the light of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Like that's why we all gravitate towards it, right? Because that's our origin.
It's beautiful. And you know what? I think this is something, and maybe, look, for those who have done their ziyarah, and obviously, inshallah, this is releasing around the time of Arba'een Day. If you're listening to this and you're in Karbala, or you finished your ziyarah and you've gone back to Najaf or Samara or wherever you are, please remember us in your dua, and inshallah, your ziyarah is accepted. And for those who are listening to this from far, from home, wherever you are around the world, make the niyyah from now to go, inshallah, next year. Book your time off from work, you know, for next year. I booked last year when I came back. The first thing I did was book my time off for this year, and at the time of recording, I have no plans to go, or I'm not able to go. But subhanallah, it's amazing because, you know, at least there's, like, even though whether you can or you can't go, you know that you had the niyyah to go, you know that you had the intention to go, and even then, you know, if the opportunity arises, then you won't run into issues. Book it off a year in advance at least, you know. For those who are listening from home now and you're thinking, you know, you've got the FOMO, you know, and you want to go next year, book your time off from now. Start saving up from now. Save 50, 70, 100 pounds a month, whatever you can, inshallah. Work the extra shifts, work the extra hours, put that money aside, and then within 7-8 months you'll have enough money maybe to go, or save enough days at work to go.
So that's beautiful.
So it's really important.
Beautiful.
It's really important. It's achievable. Like, let's be real, ziyarah is expensive. Depends where you're going from, different parts of the world. If you're going from North America, you're talking $2,000-3,000. From the UK, maybe $1,000 or $2,000. But generally speaking, it's achievable, right? We have opportunities, we have groups, we have accommodation. It's doable. So people who say, oh, I can't get time off work, I don't have the funds, I get that. But now we have enough time, inshallah, to prepare for next year.
And
Allah gives us the
if
opportunity.
nothing else, that's a place to go to get your prayers answered.
Ahsant.
Imam Sahib al-Zaman, he even says in Ziyarat al-Nahiyah that salams upon the one who Allah placed answering du'as under his dome. Right? This is something that's given to Imam Hussein exclusively. Right? The same way that the shifa is in his torba. Right? This is something that is exclusive to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. So if nothing else, if for no other reason, then that's where your prayers get answered. That's the place to go.
Well, beautiful reminder. Wallah, beautiful reminder. I just want to also add something to the advice you gave to our listeners, is that sometimes I hear around people say, I want to go. They have the intention to go, but they're scared to go because they're alone.
Right.
But I think if you go to your local community, speak with them, I'm sure they can advise you on a ziyarah group. I'm sure they can tell you, for example, okay, we know 6 brothers are going from this Husseini or this Imam Barga. Maybe why don't you join them?
Guys, message us. Listen, if you don't trust your community or you don't know anyone, message us online, Instagram, email us. We'll do whatever we can. If we know groups going, we know people going, inshallah, we'll try and do whatever we can for next year, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And obviously there's other times in the years that, you know, people go December and Easter and all these different times of the year, which is great. Ziyarat Arba'een is one of a kind though. So it can't be missed. I think it needs to be experienced.
I think what Ahmed, what you said also about making the intention, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's quite a big thing in like our kind of South Asian communities where people say, you know, I haven't been called.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that
That's a big,
kind of mentality, that, you know, I haven't been called yet. They may even have the capabilities to go, and that, like, you know, I think having that intention, I think, goes a long way. Once you have that, like, you know, that longing in your heart, Imam al-Hussein will make it happen.
I've said this before on the pod, I'll say it again. My first Ziyarat Arba'een was in 2022. Okay. And I think for me, that was the first year after my son was born. And that year, my Muharram was like elite in London. I really felt it. I think it was the year after COVID or 2 years after COVID. So we just started having majalis again, and I really got into it. And I really enjoyed it. And I think I cried more in that Muharram than I probably have in the last few years, or at least in my adult life. And I had a longing, like a yearning. I remember after Ashura thinking, I know it's not going to happen, but if there's a way, Ya Allah, make it happen, please. Anyway, I did, it was about a week before Arba'een, okay, or before people start flying out for Arba'een. And I did a really small majlis in my home, the first majlis, which alhamdulillah, every year I've been able to host in my home during this period.
Alhamdulillah.
And the niyyah is to serve Bibi al-Baneen. And that was the first year I made that niyyah. And I had Sheikh Ibrahim Ansari, who's a good friend of us and the team. He came to my home, and, you know, the brothers were eating, and it was, everyone was talking about Arba'een, booking flights, this, that, and I was like, yeah, I can't go. While we were on the sofra in my own home, the majlis, I was chatting to Sheikh Ibrahim. I said, bro, just 1 second, I'm getting a call. I need to pick it up. It's quite urgent. It was Sayyid Hassan, who's a good friend of ours. He called me. He's like, Ahmed, the call has come. We're going. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I was like, don't play with me, bro. He's like, no, we're going to Arbaeen. Pack your bags. We'll sort everything out, inshallah. The accommodation, with everything was sorted. We were able to go and film and do work with charity. And I went with my dear brother Sayyid Hassan, Sheikh Imran Damani, who's of course a brother to us as well, teacher to us. And I had the most beautiful first Arbaeen trip. I wasn't going to say Arbaeen trip because I then went with Sayyid Ali. So that, which is equally, you know, memorable for many reasons. Yeah. But I just feel like there's times, you know, when you work 100%, you know, when someone says try your hardest, and then you try your hardest plus 10%. Yeah, that's when when you feel like you earned it. Like that year, I felt like I earned it. Like Allah, I actually felt like I was brought. You know, Allah makes it a way.
In one of the lectures, actually, when I was at Arba'een, I think it was the night of Arba'een, and the lecturer was a Pakistani lecturer, and he was reciting, and he was saying that there are some people that are saying that, you know, we haven't been called. We haven't been invited by Imam al-Hussein. And he said, do you know what I say to that individual? I say that in order to be personally called by Imam al-Hussein, you have to be Habib ibn Mudahir.
Allah. Ahsant.
He said, the job of the slave is to go and find his master.
Subhanallah.
So like that mentality is more like how we need to
go knocking on the door.
Exactly.
You do anything to ask for an entry, beg for an invitation, beg for entry, beg for access to the ziyarah. You don't say, oh, you know, if the invitation comes. Of course, we believe that only those who are worthy of going will be there. But you know, you need to make yourself known. You need to make yourself worthy.
Well, subhanAllah, every Muharram, I get asked the question, are you going to Arba'een? Are you going to Arba'een? Have you booked for Arba'een? And I'm always like, inshallah, the intention is there. So the answer is consistent throughout. Whether they ask me in Ramadan or they ask me in Sha'ban, I always say inshallah.
Always have the
intention. You exhaust, I think, every opportunity possible, every avenue you can take to try your best to go. If it doesn't happen, then I believe that is tawfiq at the end of the day, because you tried your ultimate best. And for people who, wallah, there's something I want to mention here. There's people out there who say, you know what? I'm going to go to Iraq, but I'm going to go Ziyarat, Arbaeen, that's it, one day. Then I'm going to go Dubai, then I'm going to go Istanbul, then I'm going to go
you're right.
Turkey. Bro, I don't think you should ever have that intention.
But you mean on the same trip?
On the same trip.
Yeah. Banda.
Because it's
Banda.
That doesn't even make sense.
spiritually.
Yeah.
messes
How?
you up.
How?
Yeah.
How? It doesn't. You should come
Doesn't
home.
even make sense.
I know it's so random to bring in right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
but it's just, it was a convo I was having with a friend the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, your intention should be only ziyarah. Only ziyarah. Like,
Yeah.
nothing else. Yeah, someone told me, okay, I want to come Iraq, I want to go ziyarah, but also want to go Baghdad, I want to see the malls, I want to see like the new... I'm like, what are you talking about? يعني والله like Allah موفقك الزيارة and you want to go visit the dunya. يعني bro, the akhirah is beside Abu Abdullah, bro. Don't go far away from...
Ziyarat Arba'een.
Yeah, man.
Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
In this time, you want to be going to Dubai.
Honestly.
Let me ask you guys last question, and then
Before we spill the beans
we need
on
to
After
wrap up.
Maghrib.
Yeah, we need to wrap up. On a, I don't want to say light-hearted, but on a more social note,
Hey.
what has been your most memorable Mawkib experience?
My most memorable Mawkib experience in Karbala.
Or on the walk or anything?
Yeah, on the walk. Okay, Indian Mawkib. Shout out to them. I think it was 400 and something. I can't remember which number it was, but they were basically looking for like people to come and eat. I think they were like looking out for Asians as well, specifically. And they stopped us. And I think me and my wife at that point, we were in the mode, like we were walking, like we didn't really want to be stopped. He took us in. He was like, nah, guys, come on, like, please come in. Now, at this point, we tried to kind of like go in, quickly grab something and just kind of exit the other way. As we exited, he caught us again. He was like, where you going? Like, you have to stay, pray here, this, that. And they were so hospitable to us. Like, we were like genuinely like, why is he like...
Yeah.
And that's
doing
you
all this.
presume that he's not a native, right? He's not Iraqi. He's not.
Yeah,
local.
exactly. And they had it was a charity, I believe, that was under the supervision of the office of Ayatollah Bashir Najafi. And it was an amazing Mawkib.
Is it 465?
Like, the facilities were amazing.
Do they do medical stuff?
Yes, they did.
I think it's
stuff.
46, something like that.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. But
we
they were
visited
an
last Tuesday.
amazing.
Do you remember?
Mawkib.
Yes.
Like, met some amazing people there as well.
We went there last year as well. We checked it out.
Yeah,
I remember
big
that
as well.
Yeah, it's
actually.
massive. I
Yeah,
remember that every time I go and check it out because all the boys are usually there as well.
This is where we filmed with Brother Neil, or is that a different?
Somewhere near there. Yeah, it was
Okay.
near there. Neil was at 300. It's like, what about you, Said?
Well, first of all, alhamdulillah, I've been blessed multiple times to go for Ziyarat Arbaeen, and every year it's a different experience. With the people that you meet, the services, the khidmah that they offer, and you see different things. Every Mawkib offers a similar service, but everyone has their unique
Different
way of khidmah
experience,
and
different flavor.
connecting with you and stuff. But I would go back to possibly that ziyarah I mentioned earlier when I went with the Shabab from Rasul Azam, I think about 10 years ago. At that time, there wasn't really something like internet in Iraq. The telecoms infrastructure wasn't really there and everything. And there were people like coming from Iran and these countries that they're trying to connect with their family and everything. There was a Mawkib.
Wi-Fi.
Bro, there was no Wi-Fi, bro. Ahmed.
Yeah.
There was a Mawkib. You know in Iraq, like if you want to top up your phone, you have to buy like a card,
Yeah.
you scratch it and you update the top up, right? This Mawkib was given out for free. So Zuwara coming and they're buying top ups
Wow.
to put
Wow.
money into their phone
crazy.
to call their loved ones to say, okay, I'm on the way, I'm here, you're there.
Wow.
Like to me, I was like, wow, who gives out free internet? At
Yeah,
that time, bro, every gigabyte was like what?
Yeah.
£20 in Iraq?
Yeah,
Like
which is-
I'm being real.
What can you?
And
you
this
can do
Mawkib was
£20.
given out
You can drive across the country.
Yeah. So like from
incredible.
like what age was I? 20 maybe around. I was 20 then, and to me that was what's going on.
Yeah.
This is something you don't see anywhere else in the world. Yani. You
You
don't.
can do everything. There's phone
Nothing
banks,
in the-
charges. there's-
Yeah, charges. Like when I saw those Mawkib, I was shocked as well. I was thinking like they're
Massages.
so thoughtful.
Yeah,
They're so thoughtful. Like there's like a charger Mawkib. Like it's just telephones.
I came across Mawakib that fix wheelchairs. I came across Mawakib that fix your sandals. Okay, like everything you can imagine. موفر موجود.
Yeah.
May Allah bless. You know,
موجود.
last thing I'll say.
And it's all for free.
Last thing I'll say, and like I truly believe this. I don't know whether people like it or not, and this is my opinion.
Inshallah, the Imam likes it.
Inshallah, I feel that the people of Iraq have been given Imam Hussein for a reason. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Like, you have to have some quality or characteristic which makes you worthy of hosting being the gatekeepers
Yeah.
of the Imams, and the ones who honor him and treasure his presence and respect him. And like I feel like when you meet me, being as someone who's immersed myself a bit more into the Iraqi culture, my wife and my children are Iraqi, my kids obviously mixed race, but I recognize that there's a level of genuine and sincere personality traits which the Iraqi people have, which no one else has. I really believe that the love, the humility, the generosity, and just there's overwhelming goodness that comes out of the Iraqi people. And I feel like no other human population, no other race or no other country could host Ziyarat Arbaeen like the Iraqi people do. The natives, the locals, who put in everything. Like this is their life purpose, right? So may Allah bless them, reward them always, because we look up to them. They look up. They say, "Oh, you guys have come from far." We have it easy, right? We book flights. We come in our polo shirts and our Nike trainers and stuff. Like we're chilling, generally speaking, right? We come from high-paid jobs relatively to them. We're coming and we're in luxury hotels.
You have to bear in mind there are the Zawar that come from like some random city in like Mazandaran or something.
Oh yeah, you're right.
These Iranians are such a big part of the Ziyarat as well, right?
Yeah, of course.
Every Iranian I meet in Ziyarat Arba'een, the first question he asks me, "Where are you from?" I'll tell them, "Yeah, I'm from Britain." "Did you come here by plane or by walking?" That's the first. That's the first question that he asks. No, like he'll say like, "Where did you walk from?" Like basically,
right? Okay, fine.
He'll be when I get to Karbala, like if I'm asking an Iranian, he'll be like, "Oh, you came by plane?" Like that's the first thing they ask. I'm like, "Yeah, I came by plane." It's like, "What about you?" And he's like, "I came from like, I don't know, like Mazandaran. I came from here. I came from," and you're thinking, bro, like how long was you walking? And to show you English, bro. Nah, but honestly, like these guys,
they walk
30
for days,
ages. They work for like a month.
That's insane.
It's like, and you have to bear in mind, like I'm walking from Najaf to Karbala for like maybe a day and a half, 2 days maybe, and I've got food and water and everything at my disposal, right? You're walking from Mazandaran, bro. Like, I don't know how many Mawakib you've got on the road.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know how difficult that must be?
Last thing I'll say for me is I know that there's also a group of brothers who go to Sham during these days and they do the walk. Have you been? Or do you know about it?
I haven't been
From
to... I haven't
Sayyid
been
al to... I can't remember what it is. They do a walk, and if for those who have seen the episode we did a few weeks ago with Brother Zohaib and Hussein, they referenced it, but there's a beautiful walk which happens in Sham as well, and people do that as well, and I think that's something equally important.
Very important,
the
especially in
allegiance to
these
Sayyida
times.
Zainab, allegiance to Sayyida Ruqayya, sallallahu alayha, and just being able to recognize that Karbala is not just the memory of the maqatil, but also the tragedies and what happened to what took place after.
I think that part is also divine, right?
Yeah.
We speak about, Sha'Allah and Yarani Qatilan. Imam Hussein is saying, Allah wanted to see me killed. And he says, Sha'Allah and Yarahuna Sabaya, like that Allah wished to see them be taken as prisoners, as captives, right? So that's, of course, like equally as divine, as important. As Ziyarat of Abdullah.
Okay, let's crack on. Last section, guys, for those who are tuning in. So a couple of updates. I'm gonna kind of bullet point them, and then inshallah we'll discuss them if that's all right. So the first being, guys, is this will be the last episode for this season on After Maghrib, unfortunately. So ma'asalam, khudafiz to season 4. It's been a pleasure. We've had amazing conversations. We've had a couple dozen amazing episodes on the After Maghrib Thursday podcast, which has been great with Said Ali and myself, and of course the other hosts who played part, and the other guests, of course. So thank you to everyone who's been a part of this season on After Maghrib. Not just those on the set, but you guys behind the scenes as well, who are working, say Mujtaba, Brother Muhammad Zahidi, Amir Sadiq, Yasser, the whole team, Sister Mariam, who helps with the reels, Sister Amina, who helps with thumbnails. Like, may Allah bless you guys. You are a core part of the team, you know that. Sorry?
Mohsin Imam.
Said Mohsin and the whole team, everyone who volunteers and who makes it what it is. So shout out to you guys. Secondly, to you guys at home, thank you for everything. We've in the last so this season we've probably had a few 100,000 views and listens across all platforms, which has been amazing. So thank you for helping us grow. We're not where we want to be. The reason why we're ending the season now is because we are being asked to leave this premises, which is unfortunate because we've only been here for under a year, because the landlord of this building at this studio is selling the property, so we're unfortunately having to leave. So what that means is, on very short notice, we have to pack up everything you see here and everything you don't see and move it to a temporary place, inshallah, while we are trying to set up a more permanent fixture. Allah works in mysterious ways and great ways, so this is something hopefully which will in the long run be very beneficial for us. We pray, inshallah, at least, and allow us to do more stuff. We have some more updates, and I want to ask you guys about the Sisters podcast. Is that something we can expect anytime soon?
So obviously we've got the issues with the studio, and we wanted to actually start recording within these weeks, but obviously we've been forced out of the studio, so obviously it's been delayed. But inshallah, as far as I know, it is in the works.
Yeah.
Sayyid Mushtaba. I think Sayyid Mushtaba's done the graphics and stuff.
We knew we were leaving, but we thought we're leaving in around September, October.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the plan was to get the Sisters podcast recorded
In
By
August.
July,
in
August.
so that
Yeah.
we could release it while we're away.
Yeah. That was right. That was right.
But because we've been given early eviction notice, unfortunately, it's been delayed again.
yeah.
But hopefully by the time you guys are watching it, there'll be more progress.
Yeah, inshallah.
And shout out to the sisters because they know we've
Yes, I
kept
think
them
as
waiting.
soon as we get a place where we can film,
Yeah.
inshallah, we can push to start going.
Yeah.
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 So talk to me about the event, the next After Maghrib event.
So the next After Maghrib event, inshallah, God willing, it's something we're working on now behind the scenes, and I think we're already looking at different venues around London. I think we're gonna have an elite lineup of people who are gonna inshallah host and be part and feature during the After Maghrib event for the upcoming year. And
I think people should comment who they expect to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to see someone specific, I think do comment who you want, and inshallah we can try to make that happen. But I do want to say something about this delays and things before I continue about the event, is that with every delay, there's khair behind it.
Of course, yeah.
And just like here, we've been here under a year, and I think we sort of visioned this to be our home for the next few years, but
Look,
sometimes things don't work
Subhanallah,
out.
By the way,
But
we took a istikhara today about moving offices and stuff.
yeah,
The answer from the Sheikh who gave me the istikhara, he said, it's good and it serves your religion.
Yeah.
so subhanallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Subhanallah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so God works in mysterious ways, and I know Khatiyya, the Sisters podcast, a lot of people have been asking in our DMs. Sometimes I get asked what's happening with the Sisters podcast for those who are interested in sister only discussions as sisters. And I'm like, inshallah, in the pipeline. Just make dua, honestly.
Yeah.
Raise your hands, make some dua, inshallah. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to, continue this work. Yani,
Muhammad,
I genuinely believe, inshallah, we're doing God's work, and we can only do this with your dua
inshallah,
and
if
with
it's
your
accepted.
support. Yeah.
What do we need from our community to allow us to make things happen?
From our community, we need, first of all, their support. At least, if at the very least, would be obviously keeping up with our content. But also, we have the partnership program on the After Maghrib website. You can donate as little as £5 a month, I believe it is. Is that the minimum?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or you can do custom, but obviously at the bare minimum, we'd appreciate anything per month.
Yeah, definitely. And we are at the moment a completely independent organization, and we are completely reliant on the donations that are coming in and the support from the community. So it's very, very important that we're able to kind of reach out to the community, make sure that they are also involved with the project, because I'm sure that there are a lot of you that do appreciate the work and the amount of amazing guests we're able to bring onto the podcast. Other shows that we're doing, of course, we're starting a new show, the Sisters podcast, and maybe other shows as well, and of course the event as well. So all of these things do require your support, and you can do that on www.aftermaghrib.com/donate.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
would say with us potentially moving to a bigger space, we can make amazing programs, but it depends on funding.
Yeah, 100%.
So the team is there, but it's trying to get it together. Depends on your funding. So
Yeah.
we've got countless ideas that we'd love to do.
I mean, we're in London, and for those around the world, let me tell you, London is one of the most expensive cities especially for commercial spaces. And what we need is something quite bespoke. So we don't need office space. We need a space which is like customizable, a space where we can hang things up and where we can put lighting and sound and all sorts of different things around. And of course, a lot of storage as well. And then you want to have different sets. Muhammad Ali's had a show, and hopefully, inshallah, we'll have one soon. And we've got this show, we want to start the sister show and others. Like we have 3 or 4 different show concepts, which we haven't even told you guys about, inshallah. But we can only do that with space, and we can only get space with your support, inshallah. And as you said, Mo, like we're completely community funded, and we fundraise through you, and we aim to grow through you. So we don't have a political or a religious group or an organization or an office which funds us. We don't have any allegiances or agendas. In all honesty, our niyyah is just to serve Allah, Quran and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam, and inshallah to be able to grow in providing the content, because we want After Maghrib to become more than just the Thursday podcast, the Friday Jumu'ah nights. We want it to be something which is transformative for the Western Shia community. We can only do that if you back us. And obviously you can buy the merch. You can see me, I'm wearing the After Maghrib hoodie, which I really like. My wife tells me don't wear it to work, don't wear it at home. I know it's comfy, but don't overwear it. I can't really help it sometimes because I love it. So you guys know what to do, man.
We want to create a home for the viewers, somewhere where you guys can go to whenever you need anything, whether you need to chat someone, you need to watch something, it's a place that where
we love you so much. Wallah. You know, every day we get a DM or a message that makes me emotional. Pretty much nearly every day. A DM or a message from someone who's either joined you.
The screenshot of the guy backing us on WhatsApp.
Yeah, like anything. It could be someone who said, like, there was a message a few weeks ago. The sister said that she's watched everything now. She's run out of Aftermath. I'm like, how have you? It's been like 200 episodes. How have you watched? It's like, yeah, I've binged all of it. Yeah. Like, I've watched every single. So I'm like, wow, like, subhanAllah. Inshallah, people are benefiting. I had a friend call me a couple of days ago, and I prefer when people are honest with me. He's like, yeah, you know, like, I only started really watching it this year. He's like, but the quality is really good. And he goes, I love watching it. And I'm glad. Like, obviously, every episode is very different. And if you look at the last 2 months, even since the start of Muharram, obviously we started Muharram, the 3 of us, and inshallah we're ending the season with the 3 of us as well. But in that time in between, we've had ulama, we've had friends, we've had, you know, creatives, we've had youth speakers, we've had different people on who've been able to kind of bring their own perspective.
Well, in many ways, it's a blessing to be part of After Maghrib. I'll be very really honest. You don't just to like meet and interact with like knowledgeable guests and
it's the biggest blessing on things,
have spiritual growth. No, it's like you feel like this is where you belong, bro. Like you have Islamic discussions. You talk about the Ahlul Bayt, and you encourage people to go Ziyarat, like this episode, for example. This is what we're all about. Yani, inshallah, and I really ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows people to, how can I say?
Yeah.
Inshallah, as Brother Muhammad mentioned earlier on, become a partner. Don't think twice, don't think 3 times, don't think 10 times. And look, if you can't become a partner, if you can't support us financially, maybe ask your brother, ask your sister, ask your uncle, ask your friends, send a WhatsApp to your best friend, to your BFF, and just say, look, there's brothers who inshallah are doing God's work. I'm going to say this 100 times because I truly believe it. If I didn't believe it's God's work, I'll go home now. What am I doing here week in, week out, Ahmed? Let's be honest, Muhammad. This takes a lot of our time. It takes a lot of our energy. It takes a lot of research. It takes so much manpower goes in behind it. And it's not just us. There's a team behind us. There's volunteers. So there's a lot of things that happen here. And if we didn't believe in the cause, in this message and what we're doing, propagating the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim assalam, why are we here at the end of the day? We're here for you, we're here for us, and inshallah we're on this journey together. So please visit aftermaghrib.com/donate and consider becoming.
I realized I didn't shout Daniel earlier. Shout out Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wahsani Imam, Brother Hamid Zahidi, Sayyid Muhammad Musawi.
Also, I just wanted to also say that I hope that the viewers have benefited from the Jumu'ah Nights Q&A series that we had. I think we
loved it.
Might have had the last episode by now, or maybe it might be next week. I'm not sure. I can't remember my calculations.
But Sayyid Ali, what was your favorite episode from Jumu'ah Nights Q&A?
The short one.
Yeah, okay. To be fair, that was probably
the one was the most contentious
because it was like it's a question people ask year in year out, right?
Yeah.
And this question has been, I think, in discussion circles between friends and communities for like I think in the last 5-6 years. And I'll be honest, because Shura is only growing. I can see
Yeah,
it growing
yeah.
in terms
Something you hear a lot in Arbaeen.
Yeah. And for those who will be there in Arba'een, you'll witness Shur happening in the Mawakib and places. So you gave a lot of clarity to it.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah. Well, how about yourself? What was your favorite?
I put me on the spot, bro. But no, I think from like an academic level, I think the Abu Fadl one,
Allah.
Status of Hazrat Abbas, alayhi salatu wasalam,
Wallahi.
amazing.
I think that was
amazing
my
episode.
favorite too, to be fair.
I like, obviously, I asked the question about Istikhara. So Istikhara
Yeah.
one, I at the point of recording, hasn't come out yet, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah, it
but
hasn't.
I'm looking forward to hearing that. And
Inshallah.
also the Taqleed one as well.
Yeah.
So, which is great.
Alhamdulillah,
And Shortatul Khamis was great.
Yeah.
Shura was great. I know my stuff, bro.
Jazakumullah
I know my
khairan.
stuff.
What did we
Nah,
talk
I
about
hope
last
it
week?
was beneficial, inshallah.
Last week,
to you.
yeah. So anyway, guys, okay, now.
I'm testing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inshallah, it was a beneficial series.
so,
Of course, obviously,
100%.
Jumma
I know it
Nights
was, yeah.
ended at 50, but this was like just to kind of patch up some things that weren't spoken about during Jumma Nights. Obviously, I always call it like a short course on theology, like to give you a
Crash
taste
course,
of everything in aqaid. And I think something like Raj'ah was so important to speak
yes.
about during Jumma Nights, which I didn't. So I think if not anything else, that episode was very, very important to the playlist in general.
Yeah.
So alhamdulillah, and of course,
Glad
as
to
you
hear.
said, we do plan to do another show, obviously.
Inshallah,
to-
Allah gives us the opportunity.
yeah, inshallah, at the next event, we won't be hosting the first podcast as a Jumma Nights podcast, but as the new show's name.
Allah.
Oh, wow.
Allah.
Inshallah. That's the plan.
Thursday mornings.
Thursday mornings.
Okay, guys.
Inshallah.
For the very last time
I'm
for
gonna
this
miss these
season.
combos.
Yeah, we're gonna miss you guys. We are gonna be putting filler content up on Instagram and YouTube, bits and pieces of previous weeks. We started doing it, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. But
We might
just
have
snippets.
that one special episode we're planning.
Oof.
With
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, we're,
No, but that
we're gonna
also-
do some exclusive
that's
stuff.
gonna need a lot of work.
Inshallah, if it happens.
It'll come
But
out
yeah.
at some point.
Inshallah, if it
Inshallah.
happens.
That's very,
Very special.
But we will, regardless, on the After Maghrib YouTube page, be posting like snippets of clips over the last 150 episodes. And I doubt most people have seen every part of every episode, but there's some real gems over the years which we've been able to record with amazing guests. So we're going to start putting weekly snippets up. You've probably seen a few of them already. If you haven't, check out the clips playlist on YouTube, and of course follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and make sure you subscribe.
We've actually passed 1 million views on Instagram this Muharram.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Should be more. I think it was more. Anyway, and guys, make sure you also
That was on TikTok.
stay tuned. We'll be back hopefully in the next few weeks, and we'll see you then.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Take care, brothers.
Assalamu alaikum
Wa rahmatullahi
wa
wa barakatuh.
barakatuh.